everyone, today I hope you're all well. I want to talk to you about the difference between historical martial arts and traditional martial arts. Now, the reason this has come about is because somebody's just recently done a video in response to me, and it's sort of brought about this feeling again. I want to do a more up-to-date video on it. So, as best as I can, I'm going to be as polite as I can because we don't want to cause trouble out there. That's not the point of the video. But I am noticing some things that are being said that are like, no, that doesn't make sense. So, right, where we're going to go. So basically, historical martial arts are the martial arts that were really done at the real time with people, chopping people's arms, chopping people's legs off, taking out eyeballs, smashing teeth in, all of that. And traditional martial arts are historical martial arts that have adapted, changed, been manipulated, died and been reinvented over time. And they've gone on for 400 years, say, and they are an echo of the historical martial arts. But of course, you have to account for 400 years of change, with 400, 500, 600 years of change sometimes. And where they are here to where they are there are two separate things. And therefore, I've termed one historical martial arts and the other one traditional martial arts. So that's where we're at. Now, I'm going to read to you from this book, The Lost Samurai School. And I'm going to be going through different things and talking about different things. So please stay with me here. But just to give you some idea of how violent historical martial arts are. So the art of knowing 8 people and fangs. This is from a scroll called Shinnomaki, I think. Yeah, Shinnomaki, from a school called Mubyoshi Ryu, from a man called Hagiwara Juzo or Hagihara Juzo. And real samurai was a ronin at the time. His family then became actually the head school for sort of unarmed combat, if you like, for the entire place of Kanazawa, which was one of the most basically prestigious samurai domains. It was one of the richest, and his legacy lasted for a few hundred years inside, maybe 300 years inside of, sorry, not 300, 250 years inside of that domain. So this is not made up. These are real people doing real historical martial arts. So oral tradition says, even if an enemy has pinned you down, bite the enemy's nose or wrist with your fangs. He actually uses the word fangs for teeth, just to give it that extra, because he talks about cats and rats. So that the enemy may die. You should use any part of your body when the enemy holds you down. You cannot do anything when you cannot do anything with your sword. Kiba nin, which means the 8 people, is actually just talking about lots of people. It doesn't mean physically 8, and he's saying there normally aren't 8. You can't be 8. So, but we're saying the 8 directions, you're surrounded, is what he's saying. So basically, bite through his wrist with your teeth. So when he's being pinned down, bite through the wrist enough that he could possibly bleed out. You're in there, you're gripping him. Somebody's on top of you. Imagine BJJ, they're on there, they're gripping you. You're just biting through and trying to pull things out. Know that a cornered rat will even bite a cat. So even if you bite through dozens of people's wrists, etc. Blah, blah. And he goes on just to say, basically, if you're stuck, start biting people's noses off, start biting through the hand, strangle it off. Vicious, horrible fighting. Yep. There's no sort of bowing to each other and doing this. You're biting people's digits off. Right. The art of capturing with rope. There's a little bit of an issue, not with the translation, but with the interpretation. I understand exactly what he means, but you get the idea. The way of arresting is to capture the enemy. Then I've had to put in brackets when the enemy's on the ground, because he's talking about grappling. It says, kick the enemy in the face with the right foot and hit him. Whether it means hit him with the foot as you kicked him, or hit him again. But basically, your enemy's on the ground, boot him in the face, and then smash him in the chops, right? So first one. And move onto his back quickly. Step between the enemy's arms and twist his arms behind his back. Put his right hand on your knee, so it's there. And then the enemy will extremely be pressed hard. Keep your hands empty. When you capture then the right hand's pinned, capture the left arm, and smash that down, then take a rope from inside your kimono. Yep, and then you start doing it. So, right. So basically, first one is some people are around you, somebody's gripped you, you're going down, they've gripped your sword, somebody's grabbing you, and the first thing you do is start lashing out and biting people's noses, and then biting sort of bits around the hand and biting through wrists that are gripping you. It says you're probably going to die. There's like more than you can handle. So at least bite and take out as much as you can. Or if you found someone, you're grappling with someone and you're the arresting person, you're coming to get them. You've grappled, they've hit you've got them to the ground, batter them in the face, like Chimwellium, right? Smash, imagine that. Bang, twat them basically, and then jump on the back, grip the arm, bang, put your knee on it, left arm, bang, and then inside, rope, like that, and start tying it up. And it says if you stand up on the end bit there, sorry, I've changed the page now. It says if you stand on this part of their arm, you'll break it because it's in so much tension that you smash through it, okay? Now, that is Hagihara Juzo. He was a Ronin and he had 33 fights in his life. People don't even know his name, but he's close to that of the Masashi of his time. He's actually around the same time as Masashi, one generation or a generation and a half after. And his hand-to-hand combat was so good that the entire school took it up for 250 years because he knew what he was doing and he had tons of stuff. And we tracked down the school as much as possible in there. So this idea that people are like, oh, traditional martial arts, this, and they would never do this. And you start to see in traditional martial arts, people say, and I've heard things like saying, oh, this is dangerous. So you're like, of course it's bloody dangerous. What are you on about? It's a bloody martial art. So the viciousness of that. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I was watching Taisha Ryu's video the other day, and it shows, I don't know if I'm allowed to use the footage, so if the footage is there, I'm allowed to use it. If not, it's not. So it shows the use of the sword against the enemy, where you sort of put the sword into around this part and you twist it to lock the person's sword. And one of the comments on this video was, oh, it's very good. I can't remember exactly. I'll put it up here. But it was a case of, that's very good and everything, but it's a bit dangerous because you'll cut your opponent's hand. What? It's dangerous. That man is an enemy. He's going to kill you with a sword. And it's like, you got to really be careful about what world do we live in where it's got to the point where in traditional martial arts, people think it is not good for a Sengoku period school to attack the handguard of an enemy because it's dangerous for the opponent. Have I read this wrong, or am I in cuckoo land where that is just outright batshit? What are you people talking about? Tell me what you think, but have I misunderstood that? Right, so this comes on to recently a man, he's called Aussie. I'll put his picture here, something Aussie, and he responded to me. I've challenged everyone to a Koryu fight, and at the minute we've got 2 people who are within distance, but we still can't have, in England, we still can't have everybody in a room together, so their dojo's closed. They train in the garden, but I'm waiting for the dojo to open. I've still not bought the helmets. I need to get the helmets, so we'll be doing that. But of course, he did a response to that, and I've put the picture up on the screen, so go and find it, have a look, see what you think. For a start, he was very polite, which was nice. It's lovely to actually have someone polite, but I think it was a little bit passive-aggressive polite. When you watch the video, it's just politeness for politeness sake, because he doesn't want to come across thingy, but you can tell he is not happy with it. Now, when he starts talking about history and piecing history together, I was like, yep, this guy knows what he's talking about. Yep, I agree with him. Yep, totally. But then when he gets onto his actual video, I thought, okay. And I always do this. If somebody's talking against me, I always take the, it's a samurai trick, take the stance of your enemy. It's obviously not the enemy, but that's what they're called, aren't they, in your mind, the enemy. What do they think? Why are they thinking that? Try to see it from their point of view. This way you'll understand what's going on in their mind, and maybe you might be in the wrong. So I put my mind into the other person and was like, okay, I agreed with 0. 100% disagreement. I was just like, nope. So I was just like, So if you want to see that, go and watch that response. But one thing came up, and it was this sword draw. My left-handed sword draw, okay? Now, he's not the only person to have grasped this, and many people have said, you know, oh, Anthony doesn't know what he's talking about. I think there's a video called The Mediocrity, or Englishmen Being in Mediocrity, and they've sort of captured this image, and he's captured it. And people in the Koryu world are like, this is a terrible, you know, draw. Well, you're wrong, simply. So let me tell you about, they're saying Anthony doesn't know anything about Koryu. He says he's not trained himself, so thinking, well, right, let me go through something for you. So here's a scroll called the Mizukagami, all right? Now, the Mizukagami is a scroll, and it's in plenty of places in Japan. You can get copies of it. It's even in the back of this book. Now, the scroll says, when you are walking and all is normal, if you are called from behind and attacked with a sword, there is a certain way you should draw your own sword. Okay? Now, I was in Japan, so for these people like Anthony doesn't know about Koryu, here's me in Japan with Nakashima Sensei, the grandmaster of a recreated Koryu, I may add. When I recreated a school, everybody's not happy, but if you know, a man with slanted eyes is doing it, it's okay. Racism or what? White man can't do it, but Japanese man can. I'm with Grandmaster Nakashima, who's an author and everything. I've spent multiple times with him in Japan, and he said on this line, because what does it mean? What's this special way of drawing a sword? Now, it doesn't say, and his opinion is no better really than other people's unless he's got it, but he said, in Koryu, there is a sword draw where you grip with the left hand, pull it out, and turn and attack enemies, yeah? Turn and attack enemies. So, the Grandmaster of Koryu is openly showing me, years before I saw the Natori stuff, a draw where you come out and cut backwards. Boom. He's drawing and cutting backwards. Drawing, cutting backwards. Basically, drawing this way with the left hand there. Now, whether he's correct or not on that specific case, I don't know. But this is Wakayama, yeah? That's Wakayama. And this is a temple. In that temple is a grave. That grave is the grave of Isui Sensei. That grave... it comes with a death certificate. That death certificate represents a man who worked for Tokugawa Yorinobu, who was his personal bodyguard's the wrong word because all samurai are bodyguards, but he was 149 personal guards around him, who then was a tactician as well for within and created sword medicine and everything. And here's one of the documents from his school, okay, whichever side it's on. And this basically is where I got that sword draw from. Now, the sword draw literally says, when your hand is gripped from the right side, yeah, you can't draw it. You can't draw your sword, so you need to draw your left hand with your left hand. Now, what it says is it says, breathe out, lock your obi and your sword together, and then draw it so your sword doesn't come out in its scabbard, and then strike them, yeah? It doesn't say which way round your hand should be, yep, and it doesn't say how you should strike them. Yep, just doesn't say. But the situation is we know that, and it doesn't say use your wakizashi, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So the situation is this. Somebody's gripped this hand. They're not gripping it from the left side. So imagine if they've gripped from the left hand and it says, use your left hand for drawing the sword. It's impossible. My left hand is here. Or I'm up here and his head's here. It's just not going to work. He is gripped from either the front here or 180 degrees on my right side. So I am restricted on the right side, and it says in the text, breathe out, hold the sword, draw, whether it's draw backwards, draw that way, and then strike. So if he's in front of me, yeah, draw, cut, yeah, bang, cut. So most likely the enemy is going to think, oh, I'm not going to stand in the way of his sword, I'll get him from his quarter. So most likely we know, this hand is restricted, right hand. What is logically put together is it's not from the left side because it's on your right. So where is it on the right? Most likely not in front of you. Most likely like not way behind you because your hand doesn't go, you know, you're not walking that way, but they might try and pull it back. So it's somewhere over here. What we have to reconstruct is whether the sword comes out this way and you stab them, or the sword comes out this way and you stab them. But the point is there. And you are being restricted with this hand. So this hand might be down, but then more than likely, they're either got their hand, they've gripped you like this, and you in them, or they're pulling it out. Well, it doesn't matter. It's not like, oh, they're pulling it out, I can't do this maneuver anymore. Imagine, I can't do this maneuver because they've slightly moved it into the wrong position. No, this hand is restricted, boom, tied round. So you've got to use that to go. If they're in front of you, cut. You've got to draw long and then slice, but more likely they're not going to be. So if they're at the side of you, come stab or cut round or whatever you're doing. As we show in here, it's dynamic and you know, like biting them, jumping on them, kicking them. So this gentleman was saying that's dangerous, and other people said dangerous. And I'm like, face palm, knocking my head against the wall. It's dangerous. Like the guy said, oh, attacking the other person, it's dangerous for the opponent. Who's it dangerous for? Like, I don't get it. Who's it dangerous for? So basically, people say, oh, you're under this bit. What would you prefer? Would you prefer to be gripped in the street by your right hand and then probably an accomplice jump on, or somebody else knife you in the neck, yeah, pull you down, stamp on you and a load of lads jump on your head. Yep. Because he's not going to grip. This is we're doing traditional martial arts. Grab. Now do your technique. No, he's going to grip it and he's be pulling you. Nobody grips you and does nothing. Simple as that. So he's going to grip your bottle in the West. Like if you were in a pub, somebody's grip your arm, smash round the back of the head, or they grip your arm with the left hand, smash in it comes, or a stick, or they're just going to belt you, aren't they? As much as they're either going to, if it's a pub fight, they're going to telegraph it. You know, they're just going to lamp you like this. So you've got seconds to get out of this before something happens. So you're feeling for what's going on, like job. Somebody's gripped you, they might pull your arm up. Either way, this sword, in one way or the other, has to come out and it has to strike them. Now, you could possibly turn around, but they're pulling you one way or pushing you one way. So I'm going to say you're pretty restricted in your movement, or you're going to have to be like wrestling with it. But why wrestle with it when you just stab or stab? 2 foot of sword, because he's up on me or they're on me. Yep, so he's within this. 2 foot of sword, straight through his eye, straight into his face. Doesn't matter even if it just cuts up. Nobody stands for that. Into his throat, bang. And what are the risks to me? You know, he's either got my hand down or he's either got my hand up. So he's pulling it. So you want to do that. The risks are you die or you take some laceration on the inside if it goes wrong. But only if you've got it absolutely wrong, at the worst. And you're the one moving with the sword. So blades don't work like that. Blades work against opposite movement. So if you've been pulling, you move with the sword, yeah, you're stabbing him. So this idea that like it's dangerous and then people are taking that, it's like, well, first of all, it's not me who said it. It's a real samurai who served Tokugawa Yorinobu. There's other samurai who say similar things. And not only that, a grandmaster is saying he's seen the same sword cut, and that's where I learnt it from him in other Koryu in Japan. So you've got Koryu in the West saying that I am wrong because Koryu in Japan and historical documentation have taught me the same thing, which they're saying is wrong. And you're like, hold on. So if a Japanese man did that, if Nakashima, who was the first man to show it to me, did that, everybody would be clapping. But because I've done it, and it's actually from historical documentation, for some reason people think it's dangerous. And I'm sort of scratching my head going, what level of logic leaping do people have to do to get to this point? And this idea that things are dangerous. Of course they're bloody dangerous. Imagine getting in a boxing ring and saying, I want a box, but I don't want any danger. I'm going to go parachute jumping, but I don't want any danger. I'm going to go on a zip slide. I want 0 danger. I'm going to go potholing and I don't want any danger. But you wouldn't turn up to the potholing club and going, that's dangerous. Dangerous. You're like, can you imagine somebody turning up, potholing club? People are smoking, which gives you cancer. And they're going, I bet you people out there who've called what I do dangerous and going, bloody dangerous, him. Bloody eating some cake, dangerous. With salt on the dinner, like massive. Yeah, come on. Do you know what I mean? That's dangerous. So it just makes me laugh, guys. So we're getting up to 20 minutes on this video. So obviously, I mean this in the best intentional way, and I genuinely do. I'm glad that the gentleman was polite, because I can't stand rude people. What is it? A few of the ninja things is I won't piss on you if you're on fire comes out. You know, it's just silly. So we're all humans and we all should be polite to each other. So let's keep it polite. But so my message here is, if you're from Koryu, you have to realize one thing: things have changed. 400 years, 300 years, 200 years, things have changed. And how often have people read the original scrolls? You see a lot of Koryu who just get the katas, but go back and read. This book is a must. I'm just saying it's for everyone. It's not sold as good as my other books. Like some of my other books have sold really well, but this one does less, but it's got some of the best information I've ever seen. You're reading, I'm like, that is phenomenal. Like magic, death, killing, all sorts. And okay, so subjects and schools taught in the Keibukan Military School of Kanazawa. Yep. So the following table shows subjects and schools which were taught between the years 1828 and 1854. And this is a real historical document. Kumiuchi Grappling, Mubyoshi Ryu. Yep. So Hagiwara Juzo was alive in the 1600s. For at least 200 years, his stuff was being taught in the official dojo headquarters of Kanazawa. And that was biting people's fingers off, biting digits off, biting this off, smashing them, hidden weapons, ropes, breaking arms as you step on it. All of that is real samurai martial arts, not Koryu. You know what I mean? It's they're from, one's from the other. Yeah, traditional martial arts are from Koryu. Koryu traditional martial arts are from historical martial arts, but the change, and I've even come across ones that have a 300-400 year history, and you know what? They openly say we fell, it stopped here and it was resurrected by someone else a generation or two later. And you're like, well, is it really a Koryu then? So there you go, guys. Right, get yourself a copy of that. Enjoy that. Go and look at this gentleman's response video to my stuff. See what you think. But obviously be polite and be nice. Beyond that, enjoy your day. New book coming out, which is Book of Bushido. And of course, my Yin Yang book is out now, pretty much in the next week or two. So there we go. Right, enjoy your day, guys. I'm off to go shopping.